Now, I know that a lot of you have noticed that there's an original Optimus Prime toy on my shelf right here, and there's a Starscream masterpiece right here, and a lot of people think that because of that, I must be a little bit of a Transformers fan. That's a bull-faced lie. I'm a ridiculously huge Transformers fan.
It's time for reaction. Welcome in. Old School Nerd.
Hey everybody, my name is Old School Nerd. You want to know how old school I am? I don't own any Transformers that were made after 1986. Okay, let me break this down for you real quick. Okay, this year is the 35 year anniversary of, wow, it's been 35 years. That would explain how old I am. I was 12 when this happened, so that must mean that I'm turning 47 this year. And I am. It's the 35-year anniversary of a little movie that came out. And I'm not talking about the one with Shia LaBeouf. No. Before that, there was Transformers the movie, and it was actually a cartoon. And for its time, and since this was before computer generation CGI cartoons were even done, Pixar wasn't even a thought in 1986 when this happened. So for those who need a little bit of a backstory, because you're young, or you're not as big of a nerd as I am, in 1984, there was a cartoon that came out, and it was called Transformers. And there was a group of robots. There were two groups. There was the Decepticons and the Autobots. And they came from a planet called Cybertron. And Cybertron was dying. And the Decepticons were... every Decepticon was built for battle. Like, when Cybertron was a united planet, the Autobots were the regular citizens, and the crafters and the politicians, and the Decepticons were the military elements. So when a civil war happened, the Autobots were screwed, and they were on the run for years. So they escaped from Cybertron, and the Decepticons chased them down, and in a massive space battle, both ships of the Autobots and the Decepticons, with groups from each faction, landed in prehistoric Earth, crashed down. And in the crash, they were damaged. At some point later in present day, a volcano erupted close to where the to where the Autobot ship crashed. Now, when the Autobot ship crashed, most of the Decepticons had boarded their ship. So when their ship crashed into the mountain, they were deactivated as well from the impact. So there was a eruption of a volcano, and I'm remembering all this from memory. I didn't write anything down, just going by memory. There was a computer on board the spaceship called Teletran 1. Holy crap, can't remember. I remember that. And Teletran 1 activated itself and then scanned all of the Transformers, all the citizens of Cybertron that were on the ship. Then it went to around the universe, all around the the planet Earth, and scanned items, like for instance this 18-wheeler or an F-15 fighter jet. And then Teletran 1 then reconstituted or repaired each one of the Transformers to coincide with a vehicle or an item from our Earth's pop culture. So all of the Autobots pretty much became passive cars. Okay, you had a cop car, you had a van, you had a Jeep, you had, and of course Optimus Prime, who is an 18-wheeler. And then all the Decepticons became like fighter jets. And their leader, Megatron, became a gun, okay, a giant gun. So the entire cartoon was derived from the fact that Transformers okay, were already toys in Japan, and they needed a vehicle. Now, for all those who did not know this, G.I. Joe, Transformers, He-Man, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and so on. Well, maybe not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because that was actually a comic book. But all of these cartoons that literally made my childhood from 1984, probably up to about 88, all these cartoons were completely designed to do one thing and one thing only: sell toys. And toys they sold. And one of the best toys were Transformers, because Transformers, you could take the Transformer, you could take the 18-wheeler, okay? And with just a few little movements, you could literally take out his arms, flip his head, and here's Optimus Prime, okay? There you go. There's Optimus Prime. Now, he's the leader of the Autobots. Now, cartoon runs for about 2 years. Then they start running out of stories. And it was the same toys over and over again. Now, they would add new Decepticons and Autobots every once in a while, but they were like, you know what? We need a bigger vehicle. So Transformers was so popular, and G.I. Joe was so popular at the same time, they both made movies. Now, the G.I. Joe movie was not picked up by a theater, and it was played as a miniseries on TV, okay, with Supentor, and then later, the Cobra La one. That's not what we're talking about. But in 1986, they launched a movie called Transformers, and it was a story of a final battle between the Decepticons and the Autobots. And in this battle, Optimus Prime dies, okay? Well, also, technically, so does Megatron, but not really. So essentially, during this time, the movie was groundbreaking. It had Orson Welles in his final movie voiceover appearance did the voice of Unicron, and you had the original actors who did the voices of the Autobots and Decepticons. But when Megatron was found by Unicron transformed him into Galvatron. So he went from being a gun into a plasma cannon. But he also picked up a new voice. He picked up the voice of Leonard Nimoy. So they pulled out the big guns for this movie, and it went really, really well. So well, in fact, that it bombed at the box office and became a cult hit. In fact, if you know me, I actually have the Transformers the movie DVD in my living room. And one of the core members of my channel, my community on my channel, his name is Brock. You see him on the D&D streams. He's a huge collector of Transformers. He's got a full Unicron. I think he's got damn near every Transformer ever made. You know, he doesn't have kids, so he can do that kind of stuff. I have to be very sparingly because I got to pay for food and shit. So anyway, he was like, Old School, got one for you. I got a request. And I'm like, what's your request? He goes, dude, they made a song for 35 years. And I went, what? Yeah, there was a Transformers Comic-Con or something. And apparently there is a band, a cover band. And they're all cosplaying as Transformers. Not half-ass cosplaying. Oh, no. They are dead on the money. And they're called Cybertronic Spree. That's the name of the band. And one of the songs in Transformers the movie was a very, very, very important song. In fact, it was when this song happened, my entire 12-year world changed. Because up until this point, no Transformer had ever died. For some reason, they would always talk about, you know, Megatron would always talk about, we will destroy the freaking Autobots. We'll destroy them. But every time they'd hit them with lasers or whatever, they'd always miss. They were like stormtroopers. They were horrible. Or when they did hit, they would be, and then they'd run off, right? They wouldn't die. Can't sell toys if you kill them. Well, there was a song called Instruments of Destruction. Okay, and I'm trying to remember who did the original, and I have to look it up. And I may look it up while we're doing this. But the key behind this is, when this song occurred, this was in the movie where the Autobots are making a shuttle run. Okay, they're going from Cybertron and they're flying to Earth. Okay, and they're doing this flight. And while they're doing the flight, the Decepticons sneak attack the ship. Okay, and when they get in here, Megatron, you have Ironhide and Wheeljack, two original Transformers were flying the flight, right? And Megatron and Starscream and all these guys, they come into the and the Constructicons, they all come into the ship and they board the ship like pirates. And Wheeljack goes, Megatron, Decepticons, and when he sounds the alarm, Megatron screams, "Die, Autobots," and he turns into his gun. And he lands in Starscream's hands, and essentially it is a 911. It's a 1911 .45 caliber with an arm extension, and a scope on the top with an extension silencer. But it was Megatron as a gun, and Starscream starts shooting them. And instead of in this movie, this song starts, and it's called "Instruments of Destruction." Super heavy song. And Starscream starts shooting, and all of a sudden you see, it was the green and yellow one. I forgot his name. He steps out from behind a panel, and he goes to fight, and Starscream shoots him, and the blast goes through his chest, out his back. Smoke comes out of his mouth and eyes, and he falls dead. And Starscream just starts capping people like John Wick Matrix style. And all of a sudden you see, he's just blasting the crap out of Ironhide and Wheeljack. And they have like holes in them, and they're just smokes coming out. They just fall dead. And you're like, they can die? So not only is the movie important for me as a 12-year-old, as a kid who loved my toys and cartoons, but this song in particular is the song that changed Transformers forever. It was the moment where you realized, holy crap, the movie's going to start killing them off. And when I tell you, the reason why Transformers the movie was so important as a cartoon, it was really the first time ever in a movie, cartoon, I don't care if it's Disney, DreamWorks, I don't care who makes the cartoon movie. This was the first time where, like, beloved characters, they were offering them like it was Game of Thrones, dude. It didn't matter. The whole movie was a red wedding. Like, seriously. So we're going to watch this video. It's them playing at I think at a Comic-Con somewhere, and they're playing Instruments of Destruction. And the first image you see is the first. See, up until this time, they didn't have any female Transformers. So they put a pink sports car, and her name was RC, okay? And it was just like, whoa, it was first girl Transformer. They also didn't have any old dudes, so they got a guy named Cup, but I don't think he's in the band. But I'm going to try to identify all the Transformers in the video if I can. Now, I've not seen the video. I don't have a script in front of me. Everything that I've kind of quoted based upon the movie is from memory. That's why I remembered Ironhide and Wheeljack flying the ship and them dying, but I don't remember the name of he was a truck, like a dump truck, and he was yellow and green, and I remember he was the first one to step out. He was the first one to get shot, and his entire shoulder got blown out, and he's just laying there smoking, and I'm like, and as 12 years old, I watched this myself. I was in Houston with my father on a business trip, and he had to go to work. And the hotel that we were in had a movie theater next door, and he gave me $20 and said, "Hey, go watch a movie." And I said, "Transformers is out." He goes, "Great, go watch it." And I remember when he came back, I was crying. And he was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "All my favorite Transformers are dead." It was, yeah. Anyway, so that's enough about my bullcrap. Let's go. I've talked 15 minutes about Transformers. I haven't even gotten to the song yet. It's supposed to be a song reaction. Okay, here we go. This is it. Oh, okay, here we go. Here we go. So this is RC. She's maybe the lead singer. She's got a microphone. Look, I mean, they really do look like the Transformers. Behind her, now this appears to be Hot Rod. Now, he doesn't appear to be Rodimus Prime yet. By the way, in the movie, Hot Rod is kind of a devil-may-care character, your classic, Maverick from Top Gun, kind of a reckless, abandoned kind of guy, and he grows up, and then at the end, he becomes the next Prime. So he goes from being Hot Rod to Rodimus Prime, because he replaces Optimus Prime. Anyway, doesn't matter, let's go. Good crowd. Okay, she can sing, dude. I know she's wearing like a foam cosplay outfit, but she can sing, dude. Okay, the song is not as heavy metal as the original. Okay, it's not, but this is pretty damn good. I've seen Rodimus. I saw Shockwave. By the way, interesting fact, of all, Shockwave as a Transformer was very similar to Megatron, as in he was a gun, but he was an artillery piece. And the key behind him was Megatron left him behind in Cybertron to keep watch over everything. So he's one of the only Transformers that never turned into an item from Earth. He stayed a Cybertronian cannon. He was also one of the original ones that came over from Japan. And one of the really cool things about him is when you turn him into his gun, he had a gun hand. He had a hand on one side and kind of a barrel. It would glow. I had one, lost it. Why? Because when you're 13, you don't think they're going to be worth anything. Boy, was I wrong. Okay, so I saw Shockwave. He's right there playing the drums. I saw Unicron playing Unicron, the giant planet, voiced by Orson Welles. He was playing the bass. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. And I saw Rumble. Rumble was in the back. Now, I knew it was Rumble. Rumble was actually a cassette. Okay. There was a guy by the name of Soundwave. Okay. He turned it into a boombox, right? But I'm sorry, a tape player. And his tapes would turn into little, yeah. So he had one that turned into a Black Panther named Ravage. And he had one that turned into a bird with jetpacks and guns called Razorbeak. And then he had two guys that would come out and turn into like guys. One was called Rumble, and his arms would turn into pistons and he would earthquake the ground. Okay, anyway. But that's Rumble. I saw Rumble playing. And then what was really weird was there's actually someone who's not a Transformer on there. Someone, I think it was a guitar player on the far end, a Quintesson. And Quintessons were, they were floating robots with 3 faces. And each face was a face of judgment. And they're bad guys. So Unicron's there, he's a bad guy. Rumble's there, he's a Decepticon. Shockwave, he's a Decepticon. And Unicron is I guess a Titan Transformer. He's not really either one. He doesn't like anybody. And we see RC and Cup so far. Haven't seen anybody else. Let's see where it goes from here. Oh, there's Soundwave, a dancer. Okay, she's air humping. Don't know how I feel about that. Okay, I was wrong. The Quintesson is playing the bass. Unicron is playing guitar. He's playing an 8-string guitar. Holy shit. He's legit. And Hot Rod is playing guitar as well. Rumble's playing a drum set, as is Shockwave. Not Shockwave. Yeah, Shockwave. The problem, though, is Shockwave's drum kit is behind a soundproof panel. So I'm thinking, wow, he must hit really hard. Have no idea what Soundwave's doing. I think he's just dancing like a background dancer. And he looks really small, so it could be a kid, which is totally cool. What would be really cool is if they had swapped it. They made Soundwave the drummer as an adult and made the kid be Rumble. That would be more accurate. Of course, I just said that would be more accurate. We're talking about cosplayers cosplaying toys from 1986. Okay. Okay, I'm wrong again. Damn, I suck at this. So the Quintesson is also a guitar. He's playing a Les Paul. Rodimus is playing bass. So apparently, only bad guys can play guitar and drums. But if you're the bass player and the singer in this band, you can be an Autobot. Kind of sucks they're outnumbered so much. Only 2 Autobots and the rest of them are Decepticons? Ah, well. Look, Unicron! He's playing with gloves, man. That's pretty good. That was pretty good, man. That's a pretty good guitar solo. This, the original song seemed a lot more aggressive in the guitars. This could also be just because the way it's a live performance. Two things I want to hear about is she going to hit the high notes at the end? Because in the last rendition of the chorus, they elevate and they go up an octave. And I don't know if she's going to be able to scream it. If she can, salutes, ma'am. But if she doesn't, it's okay. Because I just remembered that the end of the song is legit like 80s metal scream, like Dio level scream. Let's go. Here we go. It's pretty damn good. Damn. Dude, they even did the, man, she held that note a long time. That's pretty cool. So apparently, Cybertronic Spree does the whole movie soundtrack, which means they do You've Got the Touch, which is a Stan Bush classic, which, I've always wanted like a really, really good band to do a remake of You've Got the Touch. Like, you know, like legit band, you know, like, I don't know, name a really good band out right now, you know, to do You Got the Touch, you know, like, I was going to say Ginger, but you want that male voice. Sabaton could probably do it, but they're too busy doing history class. I don't know. 12-Foot Ninja? They could do it. That would be awesome. All right, guys. So for the 35th anniversary of Transformers the movie, this is Old School Nerd, and I think I got all my facts right. If I didn't, I'm sure a lot of you will try to remind me in the comments. Just do me a favor. If you give me shit in the comments that I did something wrong, and you tell me something wrong, I will do my follow-up fact check and I will bury your ass. I'm pretty serious about this stuff. There's only one thing that I am more hardcore about than Transformers, and that's Star Wars, and I don't want to talk about it because Disney's ruined my life. Okay, moving on.